exciting.
Uh,
Yeah, hey. How are you?
Good. How are you? Can you
Yeah,
hear me?
I'm right. Yeah, I can hear you.
Good.
Oh, good. Fine. Welcome.
Hi.
I love what you're wearing.
Oh, thank you. It's like a weird plasticky material, so I can wipe it clean on my daughter. Put some mud over me.
Ideal. That sounds really ideal. I was just saying, I've got my wine. You look like you've got some tea or coffee.
I've got some tea. I've got some
Nice. Well, cheers.
cheers.
I'm off work tomorrow, so this is sort of like a second Saturday. That's how I'm treating it.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
I drive to my sister's house to do this live without my toddler, so I
Oh,
can't.
really?
Or I
Yeah.
would wine as well.
Yeah, fair enough. We need to be safe. We need to be safe for sure. Well, I can see people joining us. Welcome everyone. Hope
Hi.
everyone's having a good evening. Got their drinks, got their crafty projects, because we will be crafting along as we are chatting, or at least I will try to. It's not something I've really done before, but I'll try to. It'll be interesting to see how much I get done. But we'll give it a few more minutes, but I'll just do a quick intro in case there's people watching that don't know who I am or who Woodfield are. So my name is Rosanna, and I'm a volunteer with the Woodfield Pavilion, which is a community centre based on the lovely Tooting Common in South London. And if you haven't heard of us before, the pavilion is run by a charity called the Woodfield Project, of which I'm also a trustee of the charity. And we aim to develop the pavilion as a centre for local communities and schools to share in culture, health and well-being, as well as to champion the sustainability of the Tooting Commons. So I started this Stitch Along series that has video tutorials and chats with inspiring makers. And tonight is the fourth episode in the series, and I am very excited to be joined by the wonderful Sheree Robinson of Sheree Robinson Knitwear.
Hi.
Yes. As I said, we will be crafting as we chat tonight. So grab your knitting, your crochet, your embroidery, whatever it is. Doesn't even have to involve a thread. It can be drawing, whatever you want, or just listen along. So if anybody has any questions as we go, please do put them in the comments, and I'll do my best to relay them. So first, though, it would be great, Sheree, if you could tell us a bit more about yourself, where you're based, your background, your education, your career, things like that, and introduce yourself to us.
Sure. So, hiya, I'm Sheree. And you pronounced my name right, which is nice because it doesn't
Yeah,
often
I did
happen.
homework, but it's also phonetic, isn't it? Like
I
Sheree.
know. Yeah, but people call me Cherry all the time, and I don't know why.
Oh,
So yeah, but so thank you for that. But so I'm a knitwear designer. But really I'm an all-round textile designer. And I think lockdowns kind of helped with that. I've been doing a lot more things that I hadn't done for years, like tie-dye, embroidery, cross-stitch. So that's been nice to have a bit more space to do that. But I studied textiles at Central St Martin's. I am now a lecturer at the University of the Arts. So I'm teaching on some of the textiles courses. And yeah, I really love knitting sparkly things, shiny stuff.
you do.
Uh,
I love that.
yeah, Lurex, anything really shiny, I'm just drawn to it. Or
Yeah,
anything that glows in the dark, just something that does stuff.
yeah.
You feedback from me. I can hear
Maybe a little bit, but I can
a
hear
little bit.
you. And I'm
Okay.
not getting anything in the comments saying people can't hear.
Yeah,
So
let us know
yeah.
that. Yeah, and then I can figure out what to do. But yeah, so that's a bit about me. I'm the
And
mum.
you've got your own company, right?
Yeah,
Sheree
I have
Robinson
my own
Knitwear.
company. Yeah, so initially I sold garments, so ready to wear, going out clothes that were quite a high price point. But since I had my daughter, I realised that I can't really work that way anymore. So I used to work from my knitting machine, and it's quite big. It's like really long, it's on the table, and you
Yeah.
have to use a carriage. And yeah, so even trying to do that after having a C-section, I couldn't really drag the carriage across. So I changed the way I started working. So now I'm doing more hand knit, like customizable tie-dye stuff that's customizable, anything that is small enough for me to make while I look after my daughter, basically.
Yeah. And did you
Yeah.
learn to knit at uni? Was it something that you were doing before uni? Like how did you get into knitting?
So apparently my mum tried to teach me when I was young. I can't remember this, and I couldn't remember how to do it when I went to uni. So at uni I had a really patient tutor. I did an art foundation before I did my degree,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a really, really patient tutor that showed us how to use knitting machines, but she also taught me how to hand knit, and it took me ages. I couldn't figure it out. I just could not do it for such a long time, but she stayed with me and helped me to do it. So yeah, I learned to knit at university.
Right. And yeah, you mentioned that your love of sparkly things, which is something we definitely share in common.
Yeah.
And you say on your website that your work was inspired by sort of like city nightlife and things like that. And I think that's really interesting because I guess maybe when people think of knitting, they don't think of going out clothes, but you've sort of tapped into that market and yeah, make these really unique pieces. But talk us through a bit more about that inspiration and why specifically going out clothes and things with a bit of sparkle.
So I think because I used to go out so much, that they were the clothes I wanted to wear, and they
Yeah.
were the clothes that I didn't see a lot of knitwear
Mm.
in that area. Yeah, and just even since I was little, I was always drawn to shiny stuff and like anything with feathers or anything that was really loud.
Mm.
Probably no one ever believes me, but because I'm quite a quiet person, I'm quite an introvert. So it's almost like I'm living through my designs, being really loud and being really shiny and really. It's like I dress the way I wish my personality could be because I'm quite a quiet person. And anyone who knows me is probably just shaking their head like she's not quiet.
Brilliant. I love that. But yeah, I've never think of knitwear as going outwear, but I love your pieces and I think it's really interesting. I'm actually working with glittery thread tonight in your honor.
Oh, nice.
I was like, I've got a few things that I need to work on, and this is the only glittery one. And I was like, it's got to be that one tonight. For
The
sure.
funny thing is, I'm not doing anything glittery, so I'm doing this Halloween. It will glow in the dark, some of it.
Oh, amazing.
I'm embroidering this, but I've got a couple of hats to knit. I've got some orders
Oh,
for
great.
hats, but they'll have sparkly pom-poms, so there is a bit of glitter.
A bit of bling, yeah, a bit of
Yeah.
glitter. And yeah, something else you talk on your website about is that you want to use sustainable materials.
Yeah.
Why is that important to you? And what specifically do you knit with?
So that's really important to me because after I graduated, I worked for a few high-end fashion companies, but then I also ended up designing for the high street. And seeing the amount of waste, it was just shocking. Like the amount of things, sometimes in production, stuff would go wrong, and you'd have like 1,000 garments that couldn't be bought,
Wow.
whoever, Topshop, River Island, whoever. And we just have like sacks of these clothes in our office. And it's like, yeah, do you girls want like 10 dresses? Or we're going to just throw them away? Or we're going to over dye them. So over dyeing is like dyeing them all in black ink so that they can't be used. Or like literally cutting stuff up and destroying them so that people
Wow.
can steal your stuff that you've
Yeah.
made. And it's not sellable. So just seeing all of that, it made me really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And there can be a bit of that in producing anything. So I just thought, I don't want to add to the problem. I want to find a way that I can knit and not be just pulling on the earth's resources and draining the earth more than it needs to be. Because
Yeah.
seeing the big scale that people do it at, it just made me really uncomfortable. So I use a lot of ended line yarn.
Yeah.
Really good. So a couple of really good mills in Manchester
Yeah.
that are good for that. So yeah, end of line yarns,
Mhm.
recycled yarns, anything that like jersey yarns are good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And where do you buy your stuff from? Did you just say? I mean, you might have told me just then, and I couldn't hear you.
So I used to get a lot of stuff from. I've got loads of stuff like stock, but there's a place in Manchester called Fairfield Yarns.
Oh,
I don't know how they're working with the lockdown, but they have a lot of ex-designer yarns. But you have to go there. You literally go there with a suitcase, and you take what you can. But it depends what time you're there. So if you're there like after the summer kind of seasons,
yeah.
designers, you'd get different colours to if you go in like the winter kind of. Yeah, so it's kind of
That's
like,
a good idea, though.
yeah,
That's really brilliant. It's like a sort of like, where they do those sort of vintage clothing hauls where you literally take a suitcase and pack your suitcase, but doing that with materials and yarns and stuff is really good.
yeah. So that's the place I got a lot of the yarns for my collections.
Amazing.
They do a lot of machine knit yarns. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's the place I got most of them. Other than that, it's a lot of eBay stuff where people are getting rid of the yarns they don't want instead of me, yeah, making someone have to produce more for me to make stuff.
No,
Yeah,
that's amazing. And yeah, you do other crafts. You've mentioned a bit about it. You're doing some embroidery tonight, and you said you've started doing like tie dye and cross stitch.
yeah.
Talk us more about that. Talk us more about your other what else you work on.
So I just kind of, I think it's the slowing down with lockdown. It's like, what can I make in my house with the things that I have and with the skills that I have? And I hadn't done any tie-dye in like years. I hadn't done any embroidery for years. And I just thought, let me just make some stuff in my house and see how it goes.
Mm.
Doing that, it just made me realize, yeah, I could do this to sell this, and it takes me less time than knitting. So I'm knitting, but I just don't have as much time as I used to make as many things as I used to.
Yeah.
Being single and not having children, it was, yeah, I was time rich but money poor. But now I'm both poor. So yeah, like, it's really hard to yeah, so
Yeah.
it's just figuring out what I can make that's small enough that I can make enough of them that people, yeah, can buy. And yeah.
And how else have you found lockdown then? Have you quite liked it?
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't really mind it because
No, I'm the same.
yeah, I'm so used to working on my own and being by myself. The only thing that's been weird is teaching. Teaching online is quite a different thing, especially knitting online because everything's backwards.
Yeah.
Teaching crafting online is a bit difficult, but for me personally, I've really enjoyed it, sitting at home and making stuff. Yeah, yeah, I've not found it as difficult as other people, but I think this time it's felt a bit weirder. I don't know, lockdown 2 felt a bit like, oh, here we go again.
Yeah, especially
Yeah,
because now like really winter, and I remember like in summer or whatever, people saying, oh, at least we don't have to be doing this in winter. And then
yeah,
it's like, well, here we are.
yeah.
Still in winter.
Exactly. Actually, that's probably it. Yeah, because I was like having so much fun tie-dyeing in the garden, and yeah, now it's like I have to go in the cold and still do it. But yeah,
It's not as enjoyable as when it was like 35 degrees or whatever. And so you said you're a lecturer with UAL, which is really cool. Do you teach? Is it undergraduate that you teach?
Yeah, it's undergrad, and I also have been teaching on the Insights team, so that's for students pre-university.
Ah, okay.
To help them with their portfolios and to kind of help bridge the gap of the home students not applying or home students not having the right kind of work get in with their portfolios. So we're kind of like the gap that bridges it's a lot of London-based students actually. So yeah, A levels and BTECs. We help them to develop their work and help them with their portfolios for the interviews for the BA or foundation.
Oh, amazing! That's great. And how did you get into teaching? I think because you did an interview with Black Girl Knit Club, didn't you? And I watched
Yeah,
that. And said you did a postgrad. Was that to go into teaching?
yeah. So I did a PGCE to go into teaching. Yeah, so I studied for a year,
Mm.
and yeah, it was really good actually because I know how to knit, I know how to make stuff, and I know how to teach people stuff. But doing that course really helped me to elevate the way I can teach people stuff.
Yeah.
So I did an inclusive teaching and learning unit, which was really good to think about different learners, different ways people learn. Yeah, so I think it really improved my teaching and communication skills.
Yeah, that's amazing. And do you teach as part of your company as well, like workshops and stuff like that?
I did before I had my daughter, but then
Mm.
also that's a bit of a lockdown thing as well. So I was, yeah, I was going out and about and teaching, but I've not really tapped into that as much. But I don't know if that's me protecting my energy because teaching online is quite intense because
Yeah,
you're
I
just
bet.
looking at your own face all day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, so I think it is something I would like to do, but I
Yeah.
think after Christmas, let's see what happens if we're still in this situation. I don't
No,
know.
exactly. Yeah, I'm in the same boat as well. It's just like people feel very zoomed out as well, I find. Like
Yeah,
even if you sort of set up a Zoom workshop or something, as you say, people are looking literally at their own face all the time
yeah,
in
yeah.
meetings and getting Zoom fatigue and things like that. It makes it quite hard.
Exactly.
Um,
Sorry.
yeah, but I'm guessing you must really love teaching. Oh no, that's okay. Am I here? Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I can
Excellent.
hear you. Yeah,
Good. Yeah, no, I learned the hard way with these. I'm always on my 4G now because when I was on my
yeah,
Wi-Fi, it was just like I was causing all sorts of problems. And I was like, I'm just gonna rinse my data. Okay, I'm not using it for anything else at the moment. So
yeah. We're not going anywhere.
I'm not going anywhere exactly. So okay, yeah, coming back to your interview with Black Girl Knit Club, I really loved it. I really enjoyed watching it. And you were interviewed by Simone,
Hmm.
who you know from university, studied together, and she
Yeah,
said something like you were both just 2 out of 3 black students on the course.
yeah.
And you spoke a bit about that. So for our audiences, I want to re-ask her important question about how you found being a black woman and how you do find being a black woman working in fibre. And as Simone said, navigating that space. And does it feed into your practice at all as well?
I think from doing my PG set and doing that postgrad, I realised that it was feeding into my practice, but I didn't realise.
Mm,
So the way I made things, a lot of my inspirations would come from actually, like a lot of me making going out clothes comes from me looking at my parents and looking at my grandparents and how they'd properly get dressed up to go out on the weekends, and it was like a big thing. So that fed into my work, I think, for me wanting to make these going out clothes that were really happy and vibrant and bright and yeah, trying to find the joy because I see the joy that I had in
mm,
going to parties and like christenings and Caribbean events. The joy is always really, even funerals, there's a lot of yeah, like joy and music, and I think it fed in that way. But doing the postgrad, doing the PGCE, it gave me a different context, and I now know more about like race and education and inclusivity and what's missing in schools and what's missing in universities. So I've got more of a knowledge
mm.
to help students, and I've got more of a knowledge of how to create in my own work. And
Yeah.
that's also almost why I've been doing a lot more embroidery. It's being able to use words,
Mm.
having the space to use words to communicate things, which you can do in knitting. It just takes longer. So yeah, that's almost yeah. It has kind of changed the way I work. But yeah, I think so. Me and Simone, we did knit together. There were definitely only 3 of us on the knit class, but in the whole year, there were probably about 6, 7 students that weren't white,
Mm.
and I was friends with all of them. So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, we were all kind of together, and we didn't, it wasn't an active thing we ever spoke about, but we were obviously drawn to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, it was just a strange environment. I was, even though I'm from London and the university was in London, I'd never met people like that before. I'd never met a really rich person before, and it can be quite intimidating.
Mm.
Yeah, being from a different kind of space where other people are used to things and you're not. So
Yeah.
that was hard to navigate, I think. And
Yeah.
just, yeah, taking up that space, I found I had to learn to do it, like learn to ask for help or learn to be independent enough to trust my work if tutors didn't understand it. Or yeah, I think it gave me some resilience, definitely. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think when you're going through it, you don't always realise what's happening.
Yeah.
And it's in looking back and doing Black Girl Knit Club stuff and doing Instagram lives like this that you actually reflect on it, because when you're in it, yeah, you don't really realise. I didn't really realise how much it affected us all.
Yeah. 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 No, that's really interesting. And yeah, were all your teachers white as well? Was it sort of like not just classmates, but it's who was teaching it as well?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah, it was. I'm trying to think. I'm like, yes. Apart from technicians, there were technicians from different places, but yeah, all
Yeah.
my teachers were white English. Yeah.
Yeah. And how have you found it then going into your company as well, like after uni? Did you start your company like once you'd left? Was there a gap? What was the sort of transition for you?
So I did. I started it after I left. I moved to New York for 3 months,
Oh wow.
and I interned there with the gang. So Will and the gang started in New York, and I interned with them. And I also interned with Diane von Furstenberg. And seeing
Mm-hmm.
like a small company and then seeing a really big company, knitwear worked within them, I was like, I think I can do this. I'm going to try. So it
Yeah.
was when I came back that I started it. But it
Oh,
took a
amazing.
while to get like where I am now. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it was after uni.
Amazing. And what advice would you have to someone that was like thinking of setting their own company up like that? That's a loaded question,
I
but
guess it's just finding. Yeah, I think it's finding your niche.
mm-hmm.
It's yeah, finding your niche and also making sure you're making something you enjoy making. Because until you're big
Yeah.
enough to be sending out your production elsewhere, it might just be you sitting at home making loads and loads of the same thing. So if you're not enjoying it, it's going to be tough. So I'd say make
Yeah.
sure you start doing something that you enjoy. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's important as well, especially because I think a lot of people may start doing stuff for like a hobby, right? And then once you sort of like monetize that, it can become more of a chore. And I think,
Yeah,
yeah, I don't
definitely.
think people talk enough about the enjoyment of it. And I found myself getting into that trap as well, thinking like, I don't know, thinking of, yeah, my embroidery or whatever as work when I started it for myself, you know, I never started it for anybody else. So I think that's really important actually. And I wanted to come on to this because you've also got there's some memes in this house collection, and there's a lot of
Oh
humor in
yeah.
that. Yeah, there's a lot of humor in that, and I think even with your going out clothes, there's not necessarily humor, but sort of like fun and joy, as you said. And so yeah, I wanted to talk a bit about
Yeah.
this house and your inspo for that. Is that quite a new thing since lockdown? and I think it's homeware. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. So that is a new thing since lockdown, and it's going to be homeware. I'm working on Christmas, but no, when I drove to my sister's house, I realised everyone's Christmas trees are up and they've got all their decorations, and I don't know if it's because of lockdown, but yeah, I just wanted to make, like, I've got this here. I think it's backwards. So just making funny kind of things that are wordy, but for your house. That's what I really want to do with that account. But I just thought it
Yeah.
might be a bit confusing with mixing it with my. So yeah, keeping it separate. But he sees you when you're sleeping. So yeah, there's like the humour in craft is really important to me, like you say, because because of doing your hobby as a job can be quite hard. So yeah, I wanted to have the fun and the humour, and I love funny stuff. Yeah, so it's bringing all of that into a new kind of brand. It is very new, but let's see how Christmas goes, and then
Yeah. No, I really love them. And how do you make those? Are the words stitched, or are they transferred
so
and
the
then you
words
stitch?
aren't stitched. So these are actually just transferred. So they're heat transferred, glittery.
Ah. Yeah.
Yeah, but I do want to do some stitch ones, but again, working out the like pricing. I want the pricing for these to be quite accessible. So yeah, doing the printing on the hook one, but I am planning on doing some actual embroidered pieces as well. But it's just figuring out the price points and stuff at the moment.
Yeah. And did you used to embroider before uni, or is that something that you learned at uni or you picked up? Because you said you haven't done it for a while.
That's a good question. I did a lot of embroidery in my A levels because those were the tools I had to use. So I did do it before uni, but then at uni mainly just knit. So yeah, it's been really nice to pick it up again.
Yeah. And did you do textiles at A level?
Yeah, I did A level in textiles. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I wish I'd done that now. I wish I'd done that.
What did you do your A levels in?
Well, my original plan was that I was going to go and do architecture. So I geared my A levels towards that. So I actually did applied art. I didn't do fine art. I did applied art, which was quite good actually because we were given we were given briefs to do. So we had to like work to a brief as if a company had given us a project that to work towards. It wasn't just like you can come up with whatever you want. It was like we had to work to a brief. But then which was quite good. But then I also did maths, which is hilarious to think about now. And yeah, I did maths and English because they're meant to be good for architecture, but I didn't stick with architecture. I left and did fine art instead, which was and art history, which was a lot better. But I've always loved. I did textiles at GCSE and loved it. And I mean, I don't even know if textile people can still do textiles at A level, can they? I mean, it's just arts are being cut left, right, and centre. So
as far as yeah,
good.
as far as I'm aware, they can. But I did fine art as well, and I actually really thought I'd be a fine artist.
Oh, really? On your undergraduate?
Yeah, no, in my A levels, and I was really torn between doing fine art and doing stuff as.
Yeah. And then, oh yeah, because you went on to do
Yeah.
textiles, so your undergraduate. Yeah.
Yeah, but then I thought textiles combines them both. So I thought, okay, still be a fine art textile designer.
Yeah. I think there's more. It's interesting because I think there's more I've definitely seen an increase in like exhibitions, sort of more fine art exhibitions that focus on textiles. Actually, it's really nice to see. We're hoping to do one at Woodfield. Actually, I can see Janet. Janet's the project manager of Woodfield. I'm like, yeah, we want to do one. We want to do a textiles exhibition at Woodfield. I think that would be amazing. So I'm definitely seeing an increase, I think, in craft being recognised as an art, because it definitely is, and it should have
Yeah.
space on walls as well, and also because it's, you know, it's a heavily, craft is a heavily gendered thing as well, and yeah. Do you have many like men in your classes or come to your workshop? Is it primarily female?
Primarily female, to be honest. And
Mm.
yeah, even teaching last week, it was all female students. So yeah, text can be quite a gendered kind of environment. But that's
Mm.
also why it was good to do my PG search. There are men that for sometimes, and it's not just being like, "Hey, ladies, let's." But no, loads of different people can do a
Mm.
course. I assume like,
Yeah.
a female's quite often that it always will be. Yeah, but it is quite heavily. Yeah, it's a gender thing. I think crafts.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I definitely find that for sure, and yeah, I don't really know what the answer is either. You know, it's like,
Yeah,
how do we help?
I think to stop the stigma. But I've seen quite over lockdown on Instagram of like men crafting, and especially black crafting. I've seen quite a lot of new profiles come up, and I don't quote me, but I think Black Girl Knit Club are looking at doing something from. Yeah, but there are a lot of
Oh,
men that are
really?
really good at crafting. What's it?
Yeah.
Is it the Miss Stitch? I don't know
The what? Sorry. The what? Sorry.
Miss Mr. X Stitch. There's a
Oh,
stitches.
Mr. X. Yeah, yeah. He's got a really big platform.
Mm.
Yes.
So yeah,
Yeah,
there are
I've
men
definitely tried.
that do it, but
Yeah. I
yeah,
yeah, I've definitely tried to sort of, yeah, follow, like, do my research and follow more men that are in textiles crafting and stuff, because I mean, you know, even with this series, I want to, because it's been all women that I've interviewed so far, so I'd like to sort of get more of a gender balance there, but yeah, it's hard, and yeah, I wanted to talk about your, with Black Girl Knit Club, the ident you did with them for BBC One.
oh yeah,
So cool. I don't watch a lot of I tend to watch like catch up TV, but I think I've seen that one. And yeah, tell us a bit
yeah.
about how that came about and how it felt to be involved and things like that.
So it was really interesting. It was so the BBC approached the Black Girl Knit Club, who approached me to ask me to do it. And yeah, it was really nice to they gave a brief and they checked
Mm.
all our cameras and yeah, all the lighting and stuff. But they kind of left us alone to just
Okay.
do what we needed to do, like all together.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it was just really important to be involved, to have that representation
Yeah.
of having women that you might not necessarily see crafting usually in a crafting space, because we do exist.
Yes.
So yeah, it feels really like important to me that it happened, and that I have seen, I'm the same. I don't really watch.
Oh, sorry, my connections.
Oh, I think my connection's gone a bit
It's all right.
of our connections.
My 4G better be working. I can hear you.
Ah, yeah, my screen's dark. Let me just try and figure
That's
out.
weird.
Um,
But it's always happens with these virtual things, isn't it? It's like the new way of working now.
what happened today in this lesson? And it always happens when you're not, when it's important. Oh.
Okay, tell me about it. Is it good?
I think my battery's dying. That's what's happening.
Oh yeah, it does. It does make the connection go a bit weird when the battery is dying.
Let me just plug it in.
I learned that the hard way.
Did you? Right, hopefully this will help. No, it looks like I don't know what's happened to my phone. Maybe should we wrap up because I don't know how to fix this.
Yeah, that's fine. I'd actually, well, I'd asked all my questions. Not that that's
good.
Not that that's an issue, but if no one else has any questions in the chat, the time always goes so quickly. Anyway, it's already 10 to 8.
Oh yeah.
The past few times I've had to like wrap up because it's counting me down, and it's like you have 2 minutes left, and I'm like, oh my god. So stressful. You're just like, all right, this is going to cut out any minute now.
Say what you need to say. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, definitely tell us where we can find you. Where can people find out more about you, follow you, buy your stuff?
So you can find me on my Instagram. I've got Facebook and I've got a Twitter. All of those are Sheree A. Robinson. And I've also got an Etsy that I'm working on, but I'll post it on my on the app. There's some memes in this house. So that tag is at memes in this house, so you can also find me there. Yeah, I'll be posting up my Etsy stuff soon because it's not ready. It doesn't look very good, but when that's ready, I'll post it up, and I'll also have all my customization stuff on my website, which is shereerobinsonnknit.co.uk.
Excellent. Yeah, I will put all those links in the caption for the IGTV as well, so people can find you and follow you. It has been wonderful chatting with you, and I've actually done a quarter of a mouth, so I've done.
Oh wow!
I've managed to do quite a lot, which is really good. It's really nice.
Nothing. It's the same as it was before. So.
To be fair though, you're doing most of the talking while I'm sort of interrogating you about stuff.
Yeah, I thought I'd do more, but it's gone really fast.
I know it does go really fast, but I find when I like host stuff normally, I do a monthly stitch along thing. I end up, it's for 2 hours as well, and I end up not making anything because you're just like, you're sort of so focused and you're making sure everything else is okay. You're just like, oh, I forgot to actually make anything.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm too busy looking at my own face that I'm not doing stuff.
I know. What is this? But thank you so much. It's been really lovely to meet you virtually, and I hope to actually meet you in person at some point. And come to one of your workshops, things like that.
Yeah, I'd love to come to the Woodfield Pavilion because I actually live so close, and I didn't know about it until
Where do you live? You're South London, right?
Yeah, I live in Streatham now. I used to live in Clapham, so I'm always.
I live in Streatham.
Oh, do you? Oh, yeah. We probably live near each other. But yeah, I would love to come when we can do stuff again.
Yeah, definitely. And I definitely want you to be part of this, like whatever this exhibition program is that we're going to do as well. Because we really want to get like local artists involved and make a program of it. I want to make it a thing. It's just hard with lockdown, of course, because it's like that limits you a bit. But it's going to happen. We'll do it. and it'd be great to have you involved in that. So
Hey, thank you.
great. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Sheree. It's been lovely to chat to you. And yeah, I hope to meet you very soon. I hope you have a good rest of your Sunday and a good week. And yeah, I'll speak to you very soon.
Yes, chat soon.
All right. Thank you so much. Thanks everyone for watching. Bye.